He stood at the auditorium door, ticket in hand, more anxious than he'd ever been in his life, only to have a cold-eyed usher block his way. "You can't come in," she said flatly. He just wanted to see his daughter dance. Instead, the night became a collision of prejudice, heartbreak, and one father's unyielding determination. What he did next would upend an entire theater's assumptions and show everyone the true power of a father's love. Hey, Stories Demystified fans. We've noticed most of you love watching our videos but haven't subscribed. Please join our crew. It takes a sec, it keeps you in the loop, and helps us bring you more epic tales. Smash that button now. A gentle spring breeze drifted through downtown Willow Heights as Marcus Johnson, a 32-year-old single father, navigated the bustling sidewalks. The late afternoon sun tinted the skyline gold. With one hand, Marcus clutched his daughter's pink coat, a final gift for her big night, while in the other, he held an envelope with 2 precious tickets. His daughter Alyssa had been practicing for weeks for her ballet recital, her first major performance at the renowned Brookside Academy of Dance. Alyssa was only 8, small for her age but fierce on her toes, and her dream was to shine on stage like the star of the Nutcracker she had seen once on TV. Marcus supported her wholeheartedly, working extra shifts at the logistics warehouse to afford lessons, gear, and the fancy costume the school required. Though the cost sometimes pinched, the glow in Alyssa's eyes whenever she danced made every penny worthwhile. Brookside Academy's grand doors glistened under bright marquee lights. It was Alyssa's big night. Her class was performing Spring Waltz as part of an annual fundraising recital. Anxious parents arrived in droves, many sporting suits or elegant dresses. Marcus wore simple slacks and a neat button-down shirt, along with polished shoes that testified to his best effort. Yet, as he approached the main entrance, holding his battered old phone to confirm the e-ticket, an icy tension greeted him. A stern usher in a maroon uniform, Ms. Delaney, stood at the threshold, scanning tickets with a half smile for each family. When Marcus stepped forward, she looked him up and down, eyebrows knitting in mild disapproval. He extended his phone screen. "Good evening. I'm here for my daughter's performance. Alyssa Johnson," he said gently. "Here's my code." Ms. Delaney's gaze flicked over him again, then she frowned at the phone. "I'm sorry, there's a problem with your ticket." Marcus felt his heart hitch. "Problem?" She gave a dismissive shrug. "I don't see your name on the official list of seats. Are you sure you purchased it from the correct link?" Flustered, he tapped the phone. "Yes, I bought it weeks ago. My daughter's in the show. Maybe there's a glitch?" She bristled. "We have a strict guest policy. If your name's not on the official system, I can't let you in." Around them, other parents breezed past with scanned barcodes. A few tossed curious glances at Marcus. He felt his cheeks warm. "Ma'am, I have the digital receipt and my ID. My daughter's name is right here." "You'll have to speak to management," she snapped, "but the performance is about to start." Confusion turned to dread. Was it an error in the system, or was it something else? Like the uneasy feeling that Ms. Delaney's disapproval ran deeper than a simple glitch. Marcus stood aside, scanning the ticket app again, verifying everything was correct. A tall woman wearing a staff badge named Linda Coleman, the Academy's program coordinator, emerged from the hallway. Ms. Delaney waved her over with a curt nod. "This gentleman claims he has a ticket, but it's not showing." Linda offered Marcus a polite but distant smile. "Your name, sir?" "Marcus Johnson. My daughter Alyssa is performing." Linda tapped on her tablet. After a moment, her expression hardened slightly. "I see an Alyssa Johnson in the roster. She's one of our first-time students." Then, glancing up at Marcus, she paused. "It says here that her mother, well, Alyssa's mother, Lisa Hughes, is on file. Are you authorized as a guardian?" Marcus blinked. "Yes, absolutely. Lisa and I parted ways, but I've had full custody for over a year. The Academy was notified. The teacher, Ms. Reynolds, definitely knows me." Ms. Delaney folded her arms. "We can't just take your word for it," she said coldly, her tone dripping with skepticism. Marcus rummaged in his wallet for a battered custody document. "Look, I have legal proof. My phone's also got the email from Ms. Reynolds confirming my daughter's part in tonight's show." Linda looked from the document to Ms. Delaney, uncertain. A cluster of elegantly dressed parents squeezed by, sending disapproving stares as though Marcus's presence was a nuisance. He felt anger and humiliation swirl in his chest. "I understand you have procedures, but this is my daughter's big night," he insisted softly, fighting to keep his voice calm. "I can't miss it. Sir, the performance will begin in 5 minutes. We don't have time for confusion. Miss Delaney gestured at the crowd. Perhaps you should wait outside until we verify everything. Wait outside? The stage lights would dim soon, and Alyssa's class was first. She'd be scanning the audience for him, counting on his face to quell her stage nerves. Could it truly be a random mistake? Or did they see him, a young black father in plain clothes, and assume he didn't belong? Marcus's voice trembled with urgency. Please, can't you just let me stand in the back? I won't cause trouble. I only want to see her dance. Ms. Delaney's lips thinned into a line. Sir, step aside. This is not a matter of trouble. It's protocol. Her implication was as clear as day. He didn't look like the typical crowd that frequented recitals at this posh academy. The lumps in his throat tightened. Linda Coleman sighed, flipping through her tablet. Let me send a note to Ms. Reynolds. If she can confirm you, then perhaps we can do something. Thank you, Marcus whispered. But Ms. Reynolds was likely backstage wrangling the children, and time was slipping away. The auditorium lights dimmed, signifying the show was moments from starting. More parents filed in, Ms. Delaney scanning their tickets with mechanical efficiency. Meanwhile, Marcus stood in the corner, a father with racing thoughts and a heartbreak rising in his chest. Just when despair threatened to swallow him, Mrs. Sanders, an older dance mom who recognized him from an earlier practice, stepped out of the auditorium. She had curly graying hair and wore a modest evening gown. Her eyes landed on Marcus, surprised. Marcus? Why aren't you inside? She asked kindly. He exhaled in relief. They said my name's not on the list. Something about needing verification. I can't get in. Mrs. Sanders frowned, waving Linda Coleman over. I saw this gentleman at the last parent observation session. He's definitely Alyssa's father. Linda's brow furrowed. Ma'am, that might be, but we have a policy. The policy is to seat parents, Mrs. Sanders interrupted firmly. He's a parent. This is Alyssa's first performance, and Ms. Reynolds knows him. Before Linda could respond, a shrill bell signaled the show's start. Ms. Delaney snapped, We're out of time. He needs to wait. Marcus swallowed a painful lump. He pictured Alyssa's bright eyes scanning seat after seat, looking for him. He pictured her heartbreak when she didn't see him. One tear threatened to slip, but he willed it away, clenching his fist. His resolve hardened. Marcus had always taught Alyssa that no one, not even prejudice, could stop her from dancing. He wouldn't stand by while this shadow of discrimination stole her confidence. Instead of slinking outside in defeat, Marcus stepped forward toward the wide double doors leading to the auditorium. Ms. Delaney blocked him. Sir, do not cause a scene. In a clear but calm voice, Marcus said, I'm not causing a scene. I'm attending my daughter's recital. Two nearby security staff tensed, stepping closer. The air crackled with potential confrontation. Linda looked on, uncertain. Miss Sanders hovered at Marcus's side, determined to help. You can't just barge in, Ms. Delaney insisted, voice rising. Marcus paused, scanning the nervous faces. He held up his battered phone and displayed a short video clip. Alyssa twirling in front of Ms. Reynolds at a practice, with Ms. Reynolds' approving nod. That's my baby, he said, voice trembling. She's been practicing for months. She expects me to be there. I already spent half my paycheck on her costume. If you want to call the cops on me, go ahead, but I'm not leaving. A hush fell over the entrance hall. Ms. Delaney's eyes flicked to Linda. Linda hesitated, then typed furiously on her tablet. Miss Reynolds just texted me. She confirms he's the father. Ms. Delaney sputtered. But the list... Linda exhaled. There must have been a glitch with the e-ticket integration. Let him in quickly. The show's started. Reluctantly, Ms. Delaney stepped aside. Marcus felt his heart pounding with relief, though anger still simmered. Miss Sanders gave him a reassuring pat on the shoulder as he slipped inside the darkened auditorium. Inside, the stage glowed with gentle pastel lights. Classical music drifted over rows of parents in plush seats. Quiet murmurs and an occasional cough punctuated the hush. Marcus, sneaking toward an empty seat on the aisle, glimpsed a small group of girls in mint green tutus stepping onto the stage. There, in the second row of dancers, was Alyssa. Her hair was swept into a neat bun, and her little pink ballet slippers glimmered under the lights. She looked around, scanning the crowd with uncertain eyes. Marcus raised a hand in a small wave. She spotted him. Her face lit up like the sunrise. Despite the humiliating fiasco at the door, Marcus's heart soared seeing his daughter's joy. She took position, back straight, chin high. Then, as the music rose, she began her routine. Delicate turns, arms extended. Every step was careful, yet brimming with the simple wonder of childhood dreams. Marcus forgot all about Ms. Delaney and the misunderstanding. He clutched the edges of his seat, enthralled and teary-eyed. Every pivot, every pointed toe reminded him why he sacrificed so much. He wanted Alyssa to know that no boundary, no prejudice, could overshadow her talent. Halfway through, she glanced his way again. Their eyes locked. He nodded, mouthing, "I'm here," and her grin widened. She finished the dance with a graceful flourish, curtsying with her classmates. The crowd burst into applause. Usually, after such a performance, the children would return backstage and the show would roll on. But something in Marcus burned. He couldn't let the night end on that sour note of denial. As the MC stepped on stage to announce the next piece, Marcus did the unexpected. He stood up from his seat and carefully approached the side stairs to the stage. A stagehand tried to wave him off, but he quietly explained, "Just a quick word." The stagehand, flustered, shrugged, unsure how to respond. The MC paused, startled as Marcus walked onto the stage. A murmur spread through the audience. Ms. Delaney, peering from the auditorium doors, nearly dropped her program in shock. Clearing his throat, Marcus addressed the onlookers. "Sorry to interrupt. I'm Marcus Johnson, Alyssa's father. I'll be quick." Several of the girls in mint tutus, including Alyssa, remained to the side, curious. The other dancers scheduled next hovered in the wings, uncertain. Marcus continued, voice tight with emotion. "I wasn't sure I'd be allowed in tonight, for reasons I still don't fully understand. But I'm beyond grateful I got to see my daughter dance. Her dream is to be up here, sharing her joy with all of you. And my dream is just to see her shine without being turned away at the door." A few gasps, a few nods, maybe a few who recognized the tension from the foyer. Marcus locked eyes with Alyssa. "I want everyone to know, our kids deserve our unconditional support. No matter who we are, no matter how we look or what we have, I believe every parent has the right to watch their child chase their dreams." A hush, then applause. Ms. Delaney stood in the shadows, face flushed. Linda Coleman lowered her eyes. Ms. Sanders from the front row led the clapping, tears brimming. The other parents joined in. Alyssa ran across the stage, hugging her father's leg. The rest of the show continued smoothly, but the mood had shifted. The tension was replaced by warmth and introspection. People whispered about how brave Marcus was to speak so openly. Some quietly admitted feeling ashamed they'd never questioned the subtle biases at events like these. After the recital ended, many families lingered in the lobby, congratulating dancers. A line formed to greet the little performers with flowers. Alyssa clutched a small bouquet from Ms. Sanders, giggling with newfound friends. Marcus hovered close by, still reeling from the emotional roller coaster. That's when Ms. Delaney finally approached, looking deeply uncomfortable. She cleared her throat. "Mr. Johnson, I want to apologize. There was a ticketing error, yes, but I let my assumptions get the better of me. It was unprofessional." Marcus studied her, noticing genuine regret behind her stiff posture. "Thank you," he said quietly. "I know these policies can be complicated, but I hope next time no father, no parent, faces that kind of roadblock." She nodded, cheeks reddening. "Yes, next time will be different." Linda Coleman joined them, offering a smile. "I spoke to Ms. Reynolds. She was worried when you didn't appear right away. She's thrilled you got in. We're sorry for the confusion, Mr. Johnson." Marcus sighed, relief mingling with fatigue. "Apology accepted. Let's keep all parents in mind, no matter how they look." As the crowd dispersed, Alyssa tugged on her father's sleeve. "Daddy," she whispered, "did you see me dance?" He scooped her into a warm hug. "I saw every step, baby girl. You were perfect." She beamed, burying her face in his shoulder. "I was scared I wouldn't see you," she admitted softly. Marcus's chest tightened. "I'm sorry you felt that way, but I'll always find a way, no matter what." Mrs. Sanders snapped a quick picture of them. Alyssa's arms wrapped around Marcus's neck, father and daughter lit up by pure joy. Later, that photo would circulate among the dance community's social media circles, accompanied by a heartfelt post about perseverance, unity, and how small acts of empathy can transform a moment of exclusion into a lesson in togetherness. A few days later, Brookside Academy's website featured a small announcement acknowledging the ticketing mishap and reaffirming their commitment to inclusivity. Word spread about Marcus's short but impactful speech, some calling it a turning point for the Academy's attitudes. For Marcus and Alyssa, life rolled on. He kept working long hours, she kept perfecting her pirouettes. But a subtle shift took root in their community. Fewer sideways glances, more open conversations about unspoken biases. Ms. Delaney, ironically, became one of the more welcoming ushers afterward, making sure every parent, regardless of race, attire, or background, had a seat. And for Alyssa's next show, there was no question her dad would be right there in the front row, cheering her on as it should be. Because in the end, the right to love, support, and witness your child shine belongs to everyone.